Hi, McKenna. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate you coming in. I know that things have been a little crazy on your end and pretty busy.
Yeah, not too bad though.
That's good. Happy to hear that. So, how about we start with just an update, how you feel things are going, or um, just in general, some new things that are happening for you right now?
We went back to court, and the judge understands like the sobriety has been there, and is basically waiting to see. He wants my sobriety to be sustained for a little longer before we can move the kiddo back home. But other than that, it's been pretty okay. I've done my visits and haven't missed any. So there's that.
That's wonderful. That sounds like really good news.
Yeah, it's just a waiting game.
But also, the end seems to be in sight and he's seeing your progress and he's seeing that you're able to maintain that sobriety. So as far as, her moving home, it should be, I know it probably seems like it's, gonna take a while and forever, but you're moving forward in that direction where you guys can be reunited again. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a lot. I mean, and the biggest thing is going to be the worry of how we're going to adjust to the baby being home again, especially me being pregnant currently, and just dealing with the anxiety of all that. Because, I mean, having an almost 10-month-old home is a little different than them being away. So, to get back on the swing of things again.
For sure. Do you have any concerns? I mean, you kind of said it already that it's going to be an adjustment, but is there something in particular you're concerned about as far as transitioning into that, like having her moving back home and trying to take care of everything?
Just the anxiety, the crying, and things like that. Just being overwhelmed and wanting to use but not being able to. Just that the cushion of needing to have those good coping skills. It's just I know that we've practiced using them and things like that, but it's just in the moment kind of thing. Isn't that easy.
For sure. Well, and that's, one of those things too that can be kind of difficult and one of the reasons why it's so important to attend your, therapy sessions is because our brains kind of have that impulsive, I'm going to react to this situation how I normally do. And now you're really trying to rewire your brain to utilize those healthy coping skills instead of, going back to some of those unhealthy ways of handling those feelings and those emotions. But
Right.
I feel like you've done a really great job as far as trying to, try new things and incorporate those things into your, the way you're trying to handle some of these emotions.
Yeah. I mean, I see that. It's just getting to this point has been a struggle, but getting to the point of feeling comfortable with the baby being home is going to be another struggle. It's just the steps. And it's probably my anxiety that's gonna get the best of me in the long run. Like it's like being a new mom all over again. And then here soon I'll have to be a new mom again. So it's just
Right.
the set of factors.
The never ending cycle, right?
Correct.
Well, I appreciate everything you share with me, and I appreciate, you opening up about some of these things that are happening. I know that today is our last session and that we briefly talked about this before, that this was coming up, but I just wanted to kind of devote this time for talking about your treatment goals, how you feel like you've made progress on each of those, how we can move forward as far as what the next steps are. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know one of the goals, and if you want, we can just kind of go one by one and how we did it before. But obviously, as far as maintaining sobriety, that was a big goal for you, right? And it sounds like you've been very successful in that, and I'm super proud of you because at this point, it's been what, 60 something days that you've been able to resist that urge and give in to that, temptation.
Yeah, almost 70. It's one of those things that's not an option to use. So, I mean, I have to figure it out and surpass it. It's definitely not easy by any means. Getting myself out of the house because of the nicer weather has been a good distraction versus sitting in the house and being alone.
Well, that's awesome. And, I think it's really great that you have found a good outlet, as far as going outside and knowing that that is, helping you in a lot of ways. So, thankfully the, weather is turning up and it's going to be hopefully a lot of fun things happening this summer and spending time with the kids. So, I like that you've identified something you feel is working for you.
Yeah. Just have to keep doing it, and hopefully that's going to be enough.
Mhm. Well, and I like how you, also admitted that it's not necessarily easy, but you've still been able to resist that urge and, stay sober for this long. And I just think that, you know, I hope you're really proud of yourself for all the progress you've made on that because, like you said, it's not an easy task, but you've been able to do it.
Yeah, I'm proud of myself. It's just one of those things that until they're until the baby is home. Because every time I go back to court, it's one of those. But we have to wait for this, and now we have to wait for this. So
Hmm. Yeah, and that can be frustrating. Do you feel like the end is kind of near though, and that keeps you motivated to want to stay on track?
I feel like even if I get to 3 months sober or 3 months clean, however you want to word it, it's the judge is going to want more. So, I mean, as close as I think it is, that could be very easily shut down because it's really not in my hands. It's one of those things. It's just kind of have to bide your time.
And that could be the anxiety talking, just kind of, the what if, or this might happen, or, this could go wrong. But, also, I think it's important that and you've been very good about this, which is awesome. But it seems like you have a list of things that they're expecting and wanting, to reunite you guys. But and you're doing all of those things. You're following through on your therapy, you're following through on your visits, you're following through on your sobriety, you're following through with your evaluation. So I mean, you're checking all of the boxes. And I think the court really does want to rejoin, a mother with her kid. That's ultimately the goal. Um, so I think also working through some of that anxiety and the what ifs is another kind of challenge for you as well.
Yeah, definitely. The anxiety factors a big downfall.
Well, and that brings us to our next goal. Actually, before we move forward, was there anything you kind of wanted to share as far as where you feel like you are with that goal, the maintaining sobriety? Is there anything you wanted to include in that as far as your progress?
I mean, I've definitely maintained it thus far, but it's definitely a long term goal. I mean, that's not something that you just want to make a short term goal. When you have it,
Absolutely.
it's something that
Yes.
you work on. It's something that you work on every day. So it's definitely just getting through another day is a goal at the end of the day. Some days, like you get up and it's just terrible, and you're like, as long as I make it through the day, I'll be okay. So, like court
I love that.
days, those are hard.
Well, I love that. I think that's awesome. And that's a great mentality to have about that. So like I said, that kind of leads us to the other goal that you had as far as using effective coping strategies with anxiety and depression. Um, what are your thoughts on that goal? Where do you feel like you're at on that scale of, success?
I mean, I am getting out of the house more and finding ways to fulfill my times I was getting lonely, which was causing lots of problems. So I guess I'm doing okay. I'm moving in the right direction. I definitely don't effectively cope all the time by
For
any
sure.
means.
That's fair.
But I'm not turning to
Uh,
substances. But I'm not
absolutely,
turning to
yes.
substances, and I'm not using.
Perfect. Aside from going outside, are there any effective coping strategies you feel like have been helpful? Maybe some things that we've discussed, throughout our sessions together.
I mean, when I'm not outside, I guess I've because the weather is nice, I'm able to like walk to the library and stuff now. So, I mean, reading is more getting out because the weather is nice. There's been some community events and things have been okay to go to.
Awesome. Um, I know we kind of briefly tried this, the homework assignment and the journaling and kind of getting some of those things out there as far as tracking the successes. Do you feel anything, maybe not the journaling, but something along those lines where you're doing something, maybe that's not outside when you're having to be stuck at home?
As far as like tracking my successes, I mean, my caseworker and I through CPS, we kind of talk about that kind of thing all the time. Just
Perfect.
those milestones and things. So not necessarily writing them down per se, but
That's okay.
definitely acknowledging that they're there.
Awesome. Well, and I love that you have, not only an additional resource, but you're also building that support system that you can talk to about those things and kind of be there for you, so that's awesome. Perfect. All right. And, as far as like coping strategies, that's also an ongoing thing. It's just, trying new things, maybe looking online and seeing, kind of doing a little research on your own and seeing what works, what doesn't, and, um, you know, maybe just looking into some of those things if you feel like you want something new or different. And then the last goal we have on here was having my family whole again. So this sounds like, it's kind of working towards that. And we also discussed, the maintaining sobriety was kind of hand in hand with this as well.
Right. And that one's one of those it's going to take time. There's steps before I can have that one. That's like a big picture goal. It's not something that's short term. I mean, once I get it back, it's gonna turn into more of maintaining that and making sure it doesn't happen again. So I
So
feel
let
like that one, the sobriety one go hand in hand. Like they have to work together to get that one to happen.
Absolutely. And like I said, I like that you have that mindset that, it might take some time and it's not going to be an instant reward, but also that, you're working towards that goal and you're getting closer, as you put them, more time in. So
It's not
McKenna,
really,
I just want, what was
I was
that?
gonna say it's not really a mindset. It's more not my choice. It's just how it has to go.
Well, for your ultimate goal that you want, right? To like have your daughter back home and, be able to be with Luca again. So that's definitely, maybe not something you want to do as far as the steps to get there, but your ultimate goal is to have her back home. And then finally, do you feel like therapy has been helping you, as far as maybe not necessarily, um, with the steps or the paperwork, but like emotionally, mentally, any of those things to kind of help you overcome some of these challenges?
There are reminders. I mean, that I need to like take a break, put myself first, and think about things. I'm
Awesome.
not a fan, but I do it. It helps a
Okay.
little. It's a good pattern.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate you, giving me honest feedback. Um, so as far as moving forward and next steps, um, I know that we will no longer be meeting, but I also feel like it would be really beneficial to continue therapy. And maybe, this would be with another clinician, but what are your thoughts on that?
I don't necessarily know how I feel about meeting with somebody new and having to start all over again. I'm not really like keen on the whole one-on-one thing, but if we could do something where it's not just me and her or me and him, but other people too, that'd be okay with that, I guess.
Okay. No, I appreciate
Like
you
a
saying that.
group
So
kind of
you,
thing.
yeah. Okay. So doing like, and you cut out a little bit there. I just want to make sure I get this right. So you're thinking kind of, you would prefer a group like counseling session versus one-on-one.
Yeah, it takes a little the angst off yourself.
Okay. I think that would be great.
I think that would help
Um,
with the socializing piece too. Maybe get me some people to talk to outside of here.
absolutely. All right. So we can look into some support groups. And there are some resources that I can send to you that we can, get you set up and have you started with that. I know transportation has been an issue in the past, but there's ways we can work around that too. So I will send you those resources as well, and we can try to get that all set up. And you said you were working with a caseworker, right?
Yeah, through CPS.
Okay. So maybe, we can also kind of loop her in and let her know what your next steps are so she can kind of help with the things like the transportation and stuff like that, maybe. But
I'm sure they want thorough discharge
what was that? I'm so sorry you cut out. Uh-oh,
summary
I
kind of
lost
thing
you.
from you, so they kind of know which in summary. Is that better?
Yes. Okay.
I'm sure they'll want like a discharge summary or termination, like what your recommendations are, anyways. Not for just
Yeah,
CPS, but
absolutely.
for court.
For sure. Okay. Well, I just want to see, I want to make sure that we covered everything here. So as far as your goals, like I said, I feel like you have, made a lot of progress, and it sounds like you feel like you've made progress as well. Um, and then we're going to look into some group therapy. And then you said you wouldn't really want to meet with a new therapist. Is that a concern for you?
I just don't want to have to start telling my story all over again, kind of thing.
That's fair. Okay.
I mean,
Well, and I
if
want to
it's
make,
necessary, then yes. But if it's not, then I just do the group thing. It's fine.
okay. Well, and I feel like you have made a lot of progress. I feel like you have been very open and, um, you know, honest about how you're feeling, where you're at, and maintain that sobriety. So we can start you out with the group therapy. And then if you feel like you kind of need that additional support, then we can loop you back in and have you meet with a therapist. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or discuss today?
No.
Okay, well, I'm very proud of you. I feel like you are doing great, and I'm super happy for you that, you're starting to see the benefits of maintaining that sobriety and having those healthy coping skills and, um, bringing that family back together again. So just keep pushing through, keep working hard, and keep doing what you're doing. So, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.